Hey guys, welcome to I'm Uniquely Made, and I'm your host Monique, and welcome to another episode of Makeup with Mo. So this is part 2 of a series that I just recently started where I wanted to get back to the basics of makeup application. So in that first part, I did start off with priming my face before foundation. Then I added my foundation. I did my concealer under my eyes and on my eyelids, and I also filled in my eyebrows and concealed them. So that's the steps that I have taken already today in this video, and now we're going to proceed and add on some more steps. So again, if you haven't watched that video, I suggest you watch it in order to proceed with the next steps. But if you've already gotten that base down and you have it to the T, then let's go ahead and proceed. So in this video, you will need your contour, your blush, your highlight. You will also need a eyeshadow palette. You will need some eyelashes, setting spray, some mascara, all the things that we use in the first part. But to add to that, again, contour, blush, highlight, eyeshadow, eyeliner. I have it written down, so this is exactly what I did in part 1. Lashes, your mascara, setting spray, and your lip option. So it can be a lipstick or liquid lip or just lip gloss if you want to. But in order to take this look to the next level, we are adding some lipstick today. So I do have everything written down just like I had in part 1, just to explain the products and how to use it. And I'm going to show you obviously how I apply it. So in part 1, we had actually bronzed because I feel like bronzing was very, very important when you have applied foundation. I feel like bronzing, not contouring, even though those two words are used like interchangeably, bronzing is different than contouring. Bronzing is just warming up the face versus contouring, which you're actually changing the shape of the face. So bronzing is a must after applying foundation, just to get some dimension back into the skin, warming up the skin where the sun would naturally hit. Now, if you have like maybe a crooked nose, maybe you want a little more definition in your cheekbones, then this is when we would get into contouring. Me personally, I do not contour. So this is my contouring, or yeah, this is my contouring palette, my face palette that I use to add highlighter, blush, and bronzer. But this one right here is the contouring shade, and I pretty much have not touched that because I don't really contour. I like the shape of my face. I don't mind it. And plus, contouring, I feel like that's really for the elite. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't even know if I'm up to that part yet, because that's really changing the shape of the face. And sometimes contouring can get a little, because it's so cool, like the color is so cool because you're creating shadow rather than warmth. Because the color is so cool, it can get a little bit muddy looking on your face, and you'll just be like, oh my gosh, why do you look so gray? But I mean, if you're someone who doesn't maybe like the shape of your nose, like I said, maybe you want a little bit more defined cheekbones, then contouring may be the option for you. I see a lot of people actually contour their nose because they want a more slim nose. So let's just say I wanted to contour my nose. I'm gonna take a little bit on this pencil right here. This is from the collection that I've showed in part 1, and I wouldn't say it's rounded, but I wouldn't say it's flat either. They don't have names, so unfortunately this is what it looks like. It's kind of oval shaped, but this is what I'm gonna go with. If you have another makeup brush collection, then use what may be suitable for you. So I'm gonna go in with this contour shade, dust off the excess, and lightly, like if I were to contour my nose, if I wanted a slimmer nose, I would start all the way up here in the socket of my eye, and I would go down my nose to try to add shade or shadow in that area. And also do the same on the other side. So what you're trying to do with contour is really just shade and light. You're trying to bring forth the light while retracting the shade. So I don't know if you can see it so subtly, like on the sides of my nose. Like I said, I don't do this often at all, actually. I don't know why we use the word often, but if anything, I would do it with a bronzer color just to warm up my nose, but I really don't dip into this shade. But if you are someone who wants to change the shape of your face, then maybe go ahead and do it. And so I'm actually going to use this on the side of my face as well with the dome brush. Let's see how it turns out. So if I wanted more pronounced cheekbones, I would kind of contour right here. Kind of where I will put my bronzer like I did in part 1. But this is more structured. Like you have to be really structured when applying your contour. And I don't even know if you can tell the difference, but it's not something that I prefer. And I'm gonna go ahead and blend it out. Like if I wanted a more structured cheekbone, more lifted, then that's what I would do. But now I gotta do it on the other side. And I'm just using the edge of this brush, not the whole brush, to apply it, because this is what I have in the kit, in the makeup brush collection. And I'm just using what I got so you guys can use what you got. And then once I've got it down, then I'll take the dome part and kind of blend it. So it kind of looks like bronzer. It's just a little bit more cool tone. Y'all see that? Now, moving on to bronzer, then I would take the warm tone right here, which I've done in the other video, and I'm going to take it on the same brush actually and go ahead and dip in that and warm up my face on top of the bronzer. So on top of the contour. So that's what people do. They will contour first and then go ahead and bronze. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna apply it in the same area that I did in part 1 to really warm up the face, which was on my cheeks. And then on my temples. And as you can see, I'm adding warmth into my skin. Some dimension. I don't look as flat as I did in the beginning. Okay, so after that, I would normally go in with the blush. So, like I've stated before, this makeup brush set doesn't have many options to choose from as far as the brush. So I usually just use like the same brush over and over. So as long as like you wipe off the brush, I think you'll be good to go. Like if, let's just say you use this brush to apply contour, or any of the brushes, if you use them multiple times to apply different shades of anything, then go ahead and maybe give it a wipe and then go in with the next product you use. So that's what I just did, because I used this brush for my bronzer, but now I'm going to use it for my blush. So I just wiped it off, and I'm going to dip into the blush, and I'm going to apply the blush on the apples of my cheeks. So I'm just going to give a little smile, okay? And I'm just going to tap it right on in and just bring it up towards my tip of my eyebrow. And see how this makes you look just a little bit more youthful. So your blush color is your own preference. I like this one in this collection right here in this palette, which is a warm blush. And then I also have other options like this, which is more pink toned and mauve, and you know, I definitely like palettes though, because you get more product and you can have a more of a assortment of colors. But you know, if you're more on the save side, get a palette like this where you have a blush and your contour and your highlight and bronzer. I've explained all that in part 1. That's something that I recommend. Okay, moving on to highlight. I am going to take the highlight in the palette, but I'm going to use my sponge and dip into that just to apply some highlight on my cheeks. So I would normally apply it right over the blush in this section right here. And I'm just going to pat it right on the tip of my cheekbones, because I really don't have a highlighter brush in this makeup brush collection. I'm going to use the sponge. So I'm going to take the tip of the sponge, dab it on there, and you see where I have applied it already. And then I'm going to take it on the other side, right on top of the blush. You see how this adds a glow to the skin? Now, if you're someone who has like a lot of texture, you may not want to add highlighter to this area, because it will draw attention to whatever texture you have on your skin. So just be mindful of that when adding highlighter. Like, it draws attention. So if there's any area, if you have a lot of pigmentation or scarring on your chin, you may not want to put it there. But because sometimes I put highlighter right here, sometimes I put it on the tip of my nose. Like, I'm just showing you where I put it, where it just makes the nose look more slim. And I'll sometimes put it right in the center of my forehead where I did not apply bronzer, because again, this is the part where you want to come forward, you know, like our light naturally hits this part of our face, this part of our face, the tip of our nose, and our chin. So that's where you want the light to come out. And again, I included like a guide to where you would want, to the areas of your face where you would want highlighted, and then the areas of your face that you would want bronzed and contoured and add blush. Okay, so that will be in the guide. All that is in the guide. Okay, now in part 1, we didn't use any eyeshadow. We actually used the bronzer that is in this palette right here. And you know, you can very much still do that, but if you want to grab a eyeshadow palette, like a neutral one, something that can like pretty much go with everything. But I mean, like I said, you could go in with this if you wanted to, but to elevate this look, we are actually going to use an eyeshadow palette. And I'm actually going to go in with the same brush that I used in that video in part 1, and just utilize the shades that's in here. So when applying eyeshadow, again, I have this in the guide as well, as far as where to apply your eyeshadow, but here you're going to see it, you know, live and in action. Okay, so you want to start off with like a light shade to go on your eyelid. So we're not going to make this hard, y'all. We're really not going to make this hard. I'm probably going to use 2 to 3 shades. So here I have my eyeshadow palette, and I would typically go in first with something like these nudes over here. So I know it's pretty much hard to tell on camera, but this eyeshadow palette is pretty neutral, and these nudes over here can really act as a transition shade if you really want to like start off small. So I'm going to go in with this neutral, like really, it's like really neutral. Showing up a little dark on my eyeshadow, on my eyelid, but it's really neutral. And I'm going to go in with that all over my lid, and up to my crease. So I'm just sloppily placing this because it is neutral and it's really hard to mess up. So again, I suggest you watch part 1 to see what we use as a base, but we did use concealer and we did set the concealer. So this is what we're using as a eyeshadow base, just concealer and just setting it. But if you want, you can use eyeshadow primer, but it's not really I mean, I can recommend it, but I really feel like it wouldn't make a difference. So I've applied that neutral shade all over my lid. Now I'm going to go in with something darker, just like we did in the first video. We went in with that. We went in with the bronzer shades, but now I'm going to go in with this dark brown shade. I'm just going to go in with that same brush and tap off the excess and apply this to the same area that I did with the bronzer in part 1. And this is where I placed the bronzer in part 1. I simply placed it at the outer part of my eye. I flung it out and then brought it into my crease. And you see the depth that it has added into my eye. Do the same thing over here. The outer part, like the outer third of my eye. Bring it outward towards the tip of my eyebrow. And then bring it inward like a V into my crease, avoiding the eyelid space. And then I'm just going in the windshield wiper motion in my crease, just like that. You see the crease? But we have not applied it on the eyelid space. And then I just simply look in the mirror and make sure that each side is, you know, defined as I want it to be. You can go dark if you want to. If you really want a smoky outer eye, then go ahead and go darker, but just build it up. Don't go dark initially. And I also avoid the under part of my eyebrow arch as well. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there just in case I want to add more at a later time. So now I'm going to take this light shade. So in the first part, we didn't use a light color because we simply use the, you know, concealer that was already there. So it kind of looks like I have eyeshadow on my eyelids already, but quite honestly I don't. It's just concealer that's set with setting powder. So to elevate this look, we're gonna go in with this light shade or a lighter shade. It can be, you know, as light as you want it. It can actually be metallic if you like to. I'm just going to go in with this light shade right here. Now maybe tone it down with a little bit of this brown shade because it is very light. But I'm just gonna take my finger and tap it right in where my eyeball is. You see that? Like, I'm just tapping it right there where my eyeball is. And this is just going to add just a little bit more. It just brings the eyeshadow all together because it creates that light on your eyelid and it really brightens up your eyelid. And I'm just going to use my finger to do so because why not? It's a tool. And if you want, you can go in with a brush. Whoa. I'm going to use the flat one that is in this makeup brush collection and tap it lightly. And if you want a more structured look, you can go ahead and use the brush. But the brush is not, you know, really necessary. If you have long nails, you might want to use a brush. And so I literally just bring that right towards the inner part of my eye and then to like the end of my eyeball. and that just really brightens up the lid. Okay, I'm going to stop right there because I think it looks fine. I don't want to make it too complicated. It's just brightening up that eye and adding some dimension with a darker eyeshadow shade. Okay guys, moving on to the prep work for the eyelashes. We are now going to go in with some eyeliner, and you know, don't be scared, y'all. We're not doing like a wing or anything like that. We're just going to lay a small line across our upper lash line to prep for the eyelashes, because you know, you want to be able to hide the eyelash band, and the best way to do that is to apply a thin liner to your upper lash line. Okay, so I have this inexpensive eyeliner from LA Girl. It's a liquid eyeliner in black. I highly suggest this one. It has worked for me for the last couple of years, so yeah. And so what we're going to do is we are going to look, whoa, what's easy to do is be able to look down when applying your liquid liner. So I'm going to start from the inner part and use just the tip. Hope y'all can see me. And apply just a thin line as thin as I can. And sometimes I do just use like the sides, but I can't talk while doing this. I use like, as I'm going, I kind of use like the side, but try to just use the tip. Sometimes my eyelashes get in the way, but you can probably barely see the line. I can see it, but it's a very thin line, so that way when I put my eyelashes on, you can't tell that they ain't growing out of my lashes. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my eyelashes right here. These are by the brand Kiss in the style Ruffle. They're very inexpensive. They come in a set of 4. This is what I'm going in with today. And to apply my lashes, I use the lash glue by the brand Duo, a tried and true. It comes with a brush and it dries clear. So again, that's in the guide as well. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of tweezers and I'm going to pull off my lashes gently. I'm actually going to use this pair that I have used already, because why not? And if you have smaller eyes, you might need to cut your lash. So here's the lash right here, and I can tell that this one goes on my right eye because this part is longer than this part. So the inner part of your eyelash is always, the inner part of your eyelash is always shorter than the outer part. So if you can't tell, this is shorter on this side than it is this side. So I know this goes on my right eye. But if this was too long for me, I would start cutting at the outer part of the eye. But this lash is actually perfect. Like, it fits perfect on my eye. And you would just have to play around to see, like, if you place it, if it, you know, just extends too far out, then you would probably have to cut it. I don't cut my eyelashes that often because I feel like my eyes are really wide, like pretty common. But some people do have smaller eyes, and some people have bigger eyes where they might have to add, you know, more lash or double up or something like that. But I don't, by the grace of God. And so I'm just going to take the lash on the tweezer, okay? I'm going to take my lash glue on the brush and I'm going to apply a thin layer of lash glue. Don't get it on the lashes just like I did, but just apply a thin layer on the lashes. Now we're gonna let this dry for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then we're going to apply it, because you don't want to apply it immediately after you have placed the glue, because it's not going to stick. You want it to get just a little bit dry, just a little bit, not completely, just enough that when you place it, it stays in place, or you know, you're able to shift it just a little bit. And make sure you get the tip of, like, the ends of your eyelash really good with glue, because you don't want that to lift up. So I simply just tap the lash with the glue and it gets on there pretty fine for me. So going with the same mirror, I prefer like you have like a close-up mirror so you can see really close, and that way you can look down when applying lashes. I definitely suggest like you kind of look down to try to get it as close to your lash line as possible. It's harder to just look like in a mirror. It is possible, I do it a lot, but as a beginner I suggest like you get up close, you look down, and you know, apply your lash that way. So my lash is ready to go. I'm just going to grab it in the center with my tweezers, try to get it in the center, get as close to the lash line as I can with the tweezers, and hold it downward. Okay, I'm holding it downward, kind of up, and then I'm just going to place it in the center on the line that we just created with our liquid liner. And then I'm going to start on the outside and place it where I want it to go. And then I'm going to place the inside. So I place the center, then I place the outside, and then I place the inside. And now my lash is adhered. Now me personally, I don't like adding mascara before applying my lashes because it's a little bit harder for me. Sometimes the lashes get in the way if I do that. So I like to add my mascara afterwards. But try it either way and see what works for you. Try applying your mascara first. Some people find it easier to apply mascara first than their lashes. I just simply can't. I have done it before and will do it if like I forget, but it's just a little bit more tedious. And so I'm just checking the eyelashes, making sure that they're adhered and you know, they're good to go, which they seem pretty good to go. And so these are my lashes. Okay, so going back in with that eyeshadow palette, I'm going to go back in with the darker color, which is the middle shade, and I'm going to go in with another pencil from that collection, and I'm just going to create like a smoky lash line underneath the eye. So if you want, you can apply like a pencil, eyeliner pencil, but I like to use just the eyeshadow that I'm using, like the darker one, and just apply that right along the lower lash line just to create some dimension. You see the difference? It looks a little bit more put together. This is like a pencil brush, so you know it'll be very easy to work with. And I just love the way that looks underneath my lash line. And if you want, you can take an even more detailed pencil brush that's in the collection and go in with the black, just really lightly, and even darken the lash line by getting really close. Okay? And see how that just darkened it up? You probably can't even tell, but it almost creates like, looks like I have, you know, a pencil, like I use an eyeliner pencil. And so then by the time like I did that, my eyelashes should be completely dry. So now I'm gonna go in with a coat of mascara on my real eyelashes and just blend them into the false ones. And I'm not really touching my false lashes with mascara, just my natural ones. And then I'm going to go in and do the bottom lash line as well. Same thing I did in part 1. Now what I love to do is go back in with that highlighter. And I am going to take that flat brush that I use to apply my eyeshadow, and I'm going to take that, tap off the excess, and apply it right here, like in the corner of my eye, and see how that just, it just brightens up the inner eye and adds that glow. And I just think it looks so feminine, like it just looks so pretty. And then I'm gonna go in with that and actually apply it to highlight. My camera cut off. I don't know what I said last, but I was highlighting my brow bone right here, and I was highlighting it right here, and I also placed some right here. I'm going with that same brush that I used to apply my eyeshadow on my lid. Okay, to finish off the look before we apply our lip, we are going to go in with some setting spray. So in the guide I have written that, you know, what setting spray is used for, so everyone knows, you know, what it's used for. So setting spray prolongs the life of your makeup. It ensures that your makeup stays in place and protects against like smudging and creasing and fading, so it can look as fresh as it looks when it is first applied. So this just prolongs the look of your makeup. If you've added too much powder to your face, it kind of helps melt the makeup into your skin. So I highly suggest, like, if you want your makeup to last for a few more additional hours, then go ahead and go in with a setting spray. So I have the e.l.f. to stay on the more affordable side. I have the e.l.f. All Night Microfine setting mist. So it says up to 16 hours of wear. You know, take that information with a grain of salt, because, you know, it might not. But I'm going to shake it up. And what I suggested in the guide was that you spray it about 6 inches away from your skin, and then you spray it in like a Z motion. So I suggest like staying about 6 inches away, or, you know, I don't know how many inches this is, but a guide, and just spray like a Z motion. You see that? Like how I just went like that, and then I go back. Hopefully that wasn't enough, and I just simply fan my face. And it just helps add some more glowiness to this skin, helps just the makeup to just like fuse with your skin. I don't know, I just love the way it looks when finishing spray or setting spray is applied. And so now to really finish this look, I'm going to go in with a lip pencil and a lipstick. So this is the lip pencil in the shade Espresso by the brand NYX. So this is my first time like really trying this, because I just tested it when I first bought it. But I really like, for a simple look or for like a nude look, I really like going in with a brown pencil. And I kind of fill in my lips with it too. So I don't just outline, I kind of fill in. And then I just twist my lips together. And then I'm going to go in with this lipstick by the brand Milani in this shade Tease, which is like a nude, really nude. And go on top ever so lightly. and just blend the two. And just create like a nude lip. But it's all personal preference. You may like it darker. You know, if you're a beginner, you probably never wore makeup before or lipstick before. So you gotta find what works for you and what shades work for you. So this is the final look. Again, it's perfect for like date night, a night out with your girls. It's definitely that elevated look where you're just like, ooh, like you did your makeup, like it looks good. So you know, the first part is again very basic, very simple, and then we just built on that and created this look, and I absolutely love it. With the most minimal products we can achieve like an elevated look. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you take these skills and apply them for yourself, because you can do it yourself. Like, I believe in you. I greatly believe in you. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. Don't be overwhelmed. Just take what you've learned in this video and make it work for you, okay? I'm so glad that you were able to join me today, and give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and consider subscribing to my channel. That's gonna be it, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.